So what you need to identify on this is the stem cells that are called spermatogonia. And so if I have the pointer on anything on the outside edge of these seminiferous tubules, those are spermatogonia. Then they undergo meiosis, and you don't have to identify the stages of meiosis. These are the stem cells. They're on the outermost, so you need to identify those. Then they undergo meiosis, 1 and 2, producing primary and secondary spermatocytes. That's what are all these. And then where you see these very small, dark, condensed cells, those are the spermatids. They've not yet developed into sperm. These are the spermatids that will undergo spermiogenesis and form sperm. And again, these are not from humans, so the sperm heads are very thin, sickle-shaped, and these are the flagella. So spermatids out here, the sperm with the flagella, and this doesn't show the sperm heads too well, and that's usually a hard one for me to ask. So this is the seminiferous tubule, spermatogonia, spermatids, sperm, flagella, and what you find between these are blood vessels, connective tissue, etc. But there's a little artery right there. But what you need to know is here are the interstitial cells of Leydig that produce the testosterone. So I won't put it on a cell and say, what is this cell? I'll ask, what cells you find in this area, and you're going to tell me those are the interstitial cells of Leydig. They produce the testosterone that's going to have an effect, especially on the nerve cells. They're going to make sure you have spermatogenesis going on. You don't have to identify the nerve cells. I am not good at identifying the nerve cells. They're large cells, a lot of cytoplasm, large nucleus, and I've never seen one that I could say definitively this is a nerve cell. All right, now these are not in any order, so let's see what comes up next. Spleen, respiratory, we keep moving. Okay, so these are follicles within the ovary, and both of these are young secondary follicles because I'm just starting to see fluid build up. So these are all the granulosa cells. This is the follicle. This is the oocyte. We don't see the nucleus in that, but we see the nucleus in this oocyte. This is the zona pellucida that develops, and these will, at ovulation, these granulosa cells will be the corona radiata. But at this point, we're just starting to develop from a primary into a secondary follicle because of the space and fluid I see between the granulosa cells. Any questions on that? Hopefully we'll have some good primordial follicles. That's a little small. That's, oh darn. Where's my, let's see if we can get it bigger. Well, lots of pixels, but these are the primordial follicles in the egg nests. I'll get a better picture of this. Primordial follicles, primary follicle, tertiary follicle. With the oocyte, this is the antrum. These are all the granulosa cells. There'll be cells around this that when this ovulates will be the corona radiata. So we have primordial, primary, and mature follicles here. But let's see if I have maybe I have a better picture of that. See how we do on that. So not a slide, but it is a good picture. The oocyte with the nucleus is zona pellucida, corona radiata, antrum filled with fluid, granulosa cells. The granulosa cells and the fecal cells produce the estrogen. This is a mature follicle. This would push against the ovary wall. Eventually, this whole oocyte and the granulosa cells around it would float within the antrum, so that at ovulation it just gets pushed out. You saw the real pictures of that. What else we have? So this is a little better. What are these? Tiny little oocytes in one layer of cells around them. Primordial follicles in egg nests. These are called the egg nests. This is the outer layer of the ovary. So, follicle stimulating hormone, and these start developing into primary follicles, which, I don't know, these all look like they've got some fluid, so these are secondary, so I don't have a good primary. But here's an excellent secondary. Look at the fluid is building up. Here's the oocyte granulosa cells. That fluid's going to build up till we have a mature follicle. Here's the oocyte, again, granulosa cells, the antrum of that. But secondary, you'll probably see a lot of these, but realize you might get just part of a follicle. You don't necessarily get the oocyte. So a lot of those, they might be undergoing atresia, or maybe you just got part of the follicle. You're not looking at the whole ovary. That would have been a nice secondary oocyte. This is just a follicle, a mature follicle. Again, these are cats and rats. In human, you would have one mature follicle, but not in these.
Is the big one tertiary?
Yeah, that would be a tertiary.
But it's not, the whole thing isn't filled up with the antrum.
No, yeah, so it's a gradual process. So I try to find the most typical. So if I wanted to ask a mature, I'd probably try to look for one with a little bigger antrum. This is just what showed up. This is really good of the primordial follicles, secondary follicles. I'd probably look for a better tertiary follicle. Let's see what else we have. And then esophagus and trachea. So I think that's all. And I'm going to put these together. We're back to the testes. So I'm going to put these together. And if you get any good pictures today, send them to me, and I'll get them into a PowerPoint. I plan to do that this afternoon. Any